Hello viewers, welcome back to another session. Today we are going to discuss about a very important and a crucial phase of life topic, that is on midlife crisis and pre-retirement planning. In this particular session we are going to learn about the meaning and characteristics of midlife and the various developmental aspects of midlife, and also we are going to discuss about what exactly we mean by pre-retirement planning and what are the various key ingredients in effective retirement planning. So, first of all, we would like to discuss about what exactly we mean by midlife. Now, midlife is a transition period that talks about the age from 30 to 50 years. Now, midlife is a very important and a crucial transformational period. This involves lot of physical as well as psychological changes in the both men and women. During midlife, you can observe many of these middle-aged people who are at the age of 30 to 50 years, and they are very much interested in various vocational, family related activities. At the same time, this topic is very much dealt with midlife crisis, where the psychological conflict is indicated by Erikson as whether the individual is going towards generativity or stagnation. What do we understand by generativity? Generativity is giving to the other person or the next generation. What are we leaving to our next generation in terms of property, in terms of knowledge, in terms of learning? Therefore, if the midlife individuals are generating in terms of knowledge, giving property to their offsprings and various other activities related, and if there is a stagnation, there is a problem of crisis in their individual lives. Now, here in this particular midlife, the middle-aged people are very much interested in re-evaluating their life, what all they have experienced during their childhood, adolescent period as well as in the early adulthood. Now, they are keen and they want to re-evaluate their self during this particular phase of life. Now, what is it that they re-evaluate? They re-evaluate their life structure. To what extent their family life is stable? Do they have something to do with divorce, or do they have to change their job? And all these factors definitely influence their life. Not only the changes or the decisions that they take are very crucial or drastic, but it sometimes also affects their personality. In terms of their self-evaluation, they tend to evaluate their career, they tend to evaluate their success, and also they tend to evaluate their failures. Now, around age 40 years, it becomes very crucial for the middle-aged to make certain transitions, to make certain changes, to make certain adjustment patterns in their life structure, such as divorce, such as remarriage, such as leaving a career, joining a new job, and many other events in their lives. Not only making changes in divorce or remarriage, but they are more prone to certain other factors such as ill health, such as retirement worries and other factors like children education and children career also. While others make certain smaller changes when compared with these particular middle-aged people who are on the verge of certain crisis in their life. What exactly we mean by midlife crisis? Now, midlife crisis is an explanation for changes in an individual's likes and dislikes, behaviors, goals as well as general life orientation, and that sometimes occurs between the ages of 30 and 50. Now, there is one person called Lounsbrough who talks about various characteristics during the midlife period. Now, many of the middle-aged individuals have a tendency to think that their age is half over. Now, they feel that they have almost completed their age period and the remaining age is only to live like an old person or stagnate in their particular pattern of life that they are leading. Now, this has a very profound influence on their personal life as well as social life. Now, the personal life in terms of they may experience depression, they may worry about their future, and also they may worry about their past life which has been failure. Sometimes this particular thinking is developed due to the failures that they have encountered during their early adolescent period or during their early adulthood period, which can impact their present midlife status. And in continuation with the particular characteristics of midlife crisis, now Lounsbrough has also questioned about stating that who am I? Now, this question is raised in every middle-aged individual according to his concept of midlife crisis, who am I? Now, this is a concept of self-evaluation. What are my achievements? To what extent I have achieved in my life? To what extent I have been a failure in my life? And all these aspects have an influence in experiencing a midlife crisis in the middle-aged. Now, if the individual has developed a condition of successful career, a situation of successful bringing up of the children, this has a profound influence on his later years. Whereas, if the middle-aged person is unable to succeed in his career, in his family life, has a profound influence in experiencing midlife crisis. Therefore, who am I is a question that is being raised in the middle-aged individual, which has an influence on their experience in midlife crisis. According to Lounsbrough, he states that many middle-aged persons do not strive for future or do not like to do better in the later years, but it is not same for everyone. He believes that many middle-aged would like to get back to their lost youth. They want to involve into many leisure activities, they want to engage in social activities. Brough believes that the middle-aged may go into drastic and sometimes dramatic life changes in terms of divorce especially and remarriage, and also shift of job and also shift of careers. Now, this is very important to understand, because sometimes major decisions such as illogical, impulsive and abrupt decisions can cause a lot of chaos in their personal lives. Therefore, it is not always with all the age groups of middle-aged people, but to some extent it is being dealt with certain people who are having a crisis in their life from the beginning, in the childhood, in the adolescent period. So, there is an indication of a growth stunt. Now, let us see the various individual differences of midlife crisis. It is being understood that men and women, they differ in the experience of midlife crisis. Now, who are more closer to midlife crisis? It is understood that for men are more likely to occur in the early 40s that they experience midlife crisis. But fortunately for women, it is little delayed, as they have to take care of a lot of domestic responsibilities are concerned. Therefore, the midlife crisis is delayed in women, whereas it is quite earlier for men. Now, it is also optional for the women who are in the work field, in terms of who are following the social clock now, and also who are following the feminine clock in terms of marriage and children and childbearing. So, they too differ in terms of experience of midlife crisis, or sometimes a combination of both. The social clock as well as the feminine clock can also further delay in experiencing the midlife crisis. Now, Erik Erikson, the great man who has worked a lot in psychosocial development of personality across all the lifespan, now he has wonderfully explained various developmental stages, and he also talks about the conflict that is being experienced at each lifespan. Now, when you talk about establishing an identity and relationship, by middle adulthood, one can be increasingly involved in the world related activities in terms of relationship bonding, in terms of social service and other social activities are concerned. If you observe middle aged people, now people around you, if you can find out your uncles and aunts, your faculties and your parents, they are all coming under the age group of middle adulthood. You not only see them as individuals, but you also find a mentor in them, a teacher in them, a guide in them. So, the role of a middle aged person is more of a responsible role where they can have multiple roles to play in terms of guidance, in terms of teaching, in terms of helping. Now, Erickson has explained in a well documented way that midlife crisis can be navigated if the individual is in a capacity to deal with the crisis situation, and hopefully and successfully he can be able to reach to the next level of lifespan, that is old age, in a more comfortable way. Now, when we talk about midlife period as a transformation period, now there is one person called Murray Steen who talks about the various transformational process that is being experienced by the middle-aged people. Now, he talks about three transformational process. The first one is withdrawal, separation and loss. Now, Steen suggests that the entry into midlife transformation is often through the doorway of loss, because many of them may lose their loved ones, there is a death in the family, and sometimes there is a divorce. So, these are the major drastic conditions or events that takes place in an individual's life during middle adulthood. Therefore, the doorway is through loss of a loved one or loss of a partner. Sometimes not only these two, but loss of job is also one of the influential factor in their lives. Steen suggests that the first task at hand in this stage is to grieve the past. Yes, very often every middle-aged or every individual tend to grieve for the loss. They may also go into depression, but this should not be continued according to Steen. Steen says that what has been lost must not be recognized or mourned for too long period, because there is a tendency of going into depression, and then sometimes it may also lead to suicidal ideations, which is not a good indication of the individual's personal life. The second important transformational process is liminality. Here, this can be a period of confusion and ambiguity, but also a time of great potential investment. Sometimes people in this phase feel a sense of energy to do, an energy to strive, and an energy to be successful with a particular task that is being undertaken. The third transformational period is the reintegration period. Here, he suggests that once the liminality phase comes to an end, the midlifer becomes increasingly interested in participating in the social and cultural related activities. Now, he uses the metaphor of a butterfly. Now, you must be knowing what does the butterfly do. It breaks out from the cocoon at the end of the metamorphosis period, and this process of transformation allows the structure of the self to get identified and to expand their self. Now, while increasing the levels of meaning and purpose in life, the individual not only builds his self, but also becomes more uniquely and distinctly oneself. And Steen also argues that this transformational phase is not always with the midlifers, but sometimes it is not always true. According to Steen, the process of becoming more uniquely oneself following the midlife process is often disagreed. He argues that many people lives with much potential remaining in reserve, many people do not like to progress in their life when they attain midlife period and there is a growth stunt. They don't want to go for more generativity related activities. As a result, they become stagnated. Now, after this midlife crisis and all these problems that are being experienced, and we have been so far discussed about the developmental perspectives and the various transformational phases. Now, there is also an important factor that talks about the individual's midlife crisis, that is the pre-retirement planning. Now, retirement is a very stressful period in every individual's life who has been working for the past so many years in an organization. Therefore, every individual, especially the midlifer, should be able to plan for their retirement much earlier. Retirement is a condition, or retirement refers to a withdrawal from a position or an occupation. Retirement should be considered to be comprehensive, and an individual needs a lot of thought in it, and they have to work out for their retirement planning. Now, retirement planning is not in terms of the financial planning is concerned, but also the health related and also the social issues, especially the family related issues, are also to be addressed in terms of retirement planning. Not many individuals understand the value of pre-retirement planning. It is many researchers have been identified, and they have explained that planning for retirement is the strongest predictor of retirement satisfaction. So, if an individual, especially the working employee, has a keen understanding of planning for the retirement, it is well indicative that the individual is going to have a very good satisfying retirement life. Retirement planning is very essential in an individual's life because it includes two important aspects. When an individual is planning for retirement, there are two important rewards that he is losing. The first one is the income. He won't be getting a regular salary when he was working in the earlier. So, the income is affected, and the same time the status of the individual, the social status that he is recognized as a professional, is also he is losing. Now, what is the need for retirement planning? Now, the retirement planning helps an individual to evaluate certain options in terms of availability of resources and also prepare emotionally for the changes. And so far, many individuals, especially who have completed their work life, who are on the verge of retirement or who have already retired, now if you go and ask them, they have lot of emotional problems with regard to their loss of job. Now, they are no more able to work regular basis, though they are healthy, though they can perform better, but still they, according to their age eligibility, now they are no longer allowed to work. Therefore, there is a lot of emotional disturbances in the individual's life. So, if an individual is having a proper retirement planning, then there is a possibility of a satisfying life after retirement. Now, many experts who have worked in the area of retirement, now they have said that one person called George has said that not everybody is competent enough in making retirement planning. Therefore, nearly half of the middle-aged people engage in no concrete retirement planning. Even research, on the other hand, says that the retirement planning results in a better adjustment and also satisfaction life after retirement. Now, here are a few ingredients for effective retirement planning. The first is the financial planning, which is very crucial. Now, ideally financial planning for retirement should start with the first paycheck, that is at a minimum it should begin in the early 10 to 15 years before they retire. So, in a country like India, especially there are central government employees, it is 65 years of retirement is there, and in the state government it is 60 years. So, accordingly, if the individual is on the verge of 50 years, they have to plan their finances before 10 years that they retire. And along with financial planning, it is important that fitness is also a part of our life. So, it is very important that due to the age related progression, the physical health also deteriorates as per the age. So, the fitness aspect is also one of the important ingredient to consider under pre-retirement planning. In order to attain a fitness, the individuals should be able to join a particular fitness program in terms of good health, so that they can continue their life even after retirement with a very good well-being. Another ingredient is role adjustment. Many individuals after retirement are unable to adjust to stay longer at home, or they have a problem with socialization. So, it is very important for the midlifer that they have to adjust to the roles after retirement. So, it is very important that retirement is harder for people who strongly identify with their work role, and after retirement it becomes very difficult for them to adjust. So, after retirement, where to live? There is a question. Many individuals chose to live with their children, many midlifers chose to live alone, single, or sometimes they want to join in an old age home. So, where to live is a question which has to be clarified before they retire, so that their effective life can be satisfying after retirement. Another important ingredient is the leisure activities. When people retire, they have very spacious time. Now, what are they going to do at their leisure? It is very important to consider their hobbies, their interests that they like, and the activities that they would like to perform. So, a retiree typically gains an additional 50 hours per week. Therefore, they need to have a careful planning of what to do and with what time. That has a major impact on their psychological well-being. Health insurance, which needs to be a focus for the individuals who want to plan for their retirement, because the aging process, the health that is very important, and whether the finances available to them are really helping for their health insurance, or they need extra planning for the health insurance. All these factors need to be considered. Now, the research reveals that planning an active life for the retirement is much more positive than financial planning itself. So, many of us think that after retirement I will be saving so much of money, but it is not true. It seems that careful planning of life, that we have talked about so many ingredients that in the previous slides, that in terms of where to live and how to spend leisure, fitness related, and all these factors are more influential than the financial planning, which give them more satisfaction. It is also recommended for the individuals who want to have a proper planning for the retirement, that it is very important to participate in activities that promote well-being, and also include a structured timetable, social contact, social relations, and also there is a increase in the self-esteem. The research reveals that individuals who are retired have low self-concept, have a decreased self-esteem, but if there is a proper planning in advance, so there is a possibility of the increase of self-esteem with various activities that they undertake. Unfortunately, less well-educated individuals do not have this option of financial planning and all these aspects when you compared with the high income group individuals. So, and sometimes the gender difference, when you compare, it is men who are more clear on retirement planning than women, again because of the domestic responsibilities and the multiple roles that women play. Therefore, the retirement planning and all these factors are especially more in men than women. So, even the decisions that they want to retire, all these factors are influenced by men. If women want to take a decision to retire, now they have to have a family discussion, and all these factors have a role to play in their pre-retirement planning.